Monday's edition of Channel Sport this morning. I'm Talia Salam.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Cecilia Amogbe. Of course, let's get started with the show. We're starting with what is happening with Nigeria Table Tennis Federation. Aruna Quadri, he's actually crying out for help. What's the help all about? They want to go to the ITTF African Championships, and of course, they need money to go for it.
Yeah, same old story. The African Championship starts on October the 24th, so there's really not a lot of time, left for the authorities to ensure that Nigeria, participates at the event in Morocco.
Yes, so in the program we're talking about the big game today. It's a Red Monday there at Anfield, and of course Jose Mourinho and Jurgen Klopp will be clashing. Well, it's going to be the first time between both these two coaches, having to play the big. Is it really a derby? No, it's more like a grudge match, a historic game.
Yes, fierce rivals. Arguably the two most successful teams in England. And like the headline says, it's going to be a Red Monday because you have the Reds from Liverpool and the Red Devils from Manchester. We'll see who comes out on top in that particular one later tonight. Also on the show, Cecilia, it appears heavyweight world champion of the world, that is the IBF heavyweight champion of the world, Anthony Joshua, will face Wlidimir Klitschko in his second title defense after promoter Eddie Hearn says both fighters have agreed to actually face each other. But we know these things until the ink dries on the paper, we can't really celebrate. But it looks like Anthony Joshua will be defending his title against former champ Wlidimir Klitschko in Manchester on December the 10th. We're waiting for confirmation of that one. We're gonna get confirmation like really soon, probably before the end of today or tomorrow.
I doubt if that fight is going to hold this year, because I'm just looking at, it's too early for Anthony Joshua to be fighting someone like Wlidimir Klitschko. He has had 17 fights unbeaten, right? And then Wlidimir Klitschko is not even close. We wouldn't even try to actually go with the head-to-head right now, because it is not close at all.
It's not. You can't really compare.
I'm thinking he should have 3, 4, 5 more fights before he can even think of fighting Wlidimir Klitschko.
Your point is very, I understand it, because that's why a lot of casual fans seem to be saying as well too, that this fight is coming way too early for Anthony Joshua, and I understand that he's going to be facing a monster. He's never fought anyone like this before in his life, in Wlidimir. So I get it, but you have other, experts, if you want to call them. Someone like David A. believes Anthony Joshua has what it takes to beat Wlidimir comfortably, because it feels Wlidimir is on the decline, and Joshua is fresher and has the skill set to really worry Wlidimir Klitschko. But I don't really agree at all. I think I'm going to go with you, Cecilia. It's way too early. But then, Cecilia, I think it's a breath of fresh air when you have promoters like Eddie Hearn, because usually what promoters do is they protect the fighters. They want them to keep their unbeaten record
for a long time,
for as long as possible. But he hasn't done that. We saw him when he put Kell Brook in the same ring with Gennady Golovkin. Now he's about to do the same thing with Anthony Joshua, who is arguably his golden goose. He's about to put him in the ring against Wlidimir Klitschko.
Well,
it's a risk. It's a massive risk, Cecilia.
It is for me. If David Hayes is talking about the fact that he can actually go for it because he's fresh, he's smart, he's faster, and Wlidimir Klitschko is kind of slow. He's slower right now. It's hard for him. His movement is slow. His punches come slow and all that. So if and only if he can just be on the defensive, dance around the ring for a long time, be like the Floyd Mayweather, and don't allow him to actually hit you with that punch or that uppercut, those things he does very regularly. Maybe he can just dance around and somehow win the fight. But then I shouldn't take the risk at all. I think it's just too early for Eddie Hearn to be talking about this fight, because he says a deal has virtually been agreed. So it simply means he's already in the park already.
It looks like it's going to happen. I'll be very surprised if it doesn't happen at this stage.
I'll be happy if it doesn't happen at this stage.
I don't know why. You're not the one going in the ring. But what I was going to say is it's a massive risk.
When you have a pretty face sometimes, just allow it to rest for a while.
Yeah, it's a win-win situation for Anthony Joshua for me. If you beat Wlidimir again, then all this, he has a couple of doubters out there that still feel he hasn't fought anyone. Okay, beat Charles Martin, one of the very best, heavyweight champions of all time, and he beat Dominic Brazil. So if he beats Wlidimir, then it would be a major victory on his resume. But if he loses, people will say, okay, he's lost down to the more experienced boxer. He still has a
so
great
it's like
upside.
there's nothing to lose. Is that what you're saying?
That's my perspective.
Okay, Anthony Joshua has nothing to lose. But what's going to lose is the fact that the record, the unbeaten run has been exactly the unbeaten run being dented, and the fact that he might just be out for a while. Because I mean, Wlidimir Klitschko right now will definitely be firing in all cylinders, if I can use that phrase, because he has not had a fight since the last time he fought Tyson Fury. He's been preparing for Tyson Fury, and that one didn't hold. So whoever's going to come his way now, well, I wouldn't pity the guy at all. So maybe he can have one more fight before the fight between him and Anthony Joshua happens. But for now, come on, no, it's just too early. Way too early for me. Just way too early. Yep. Okay, talking about another one who is really, I mean, right now, if you want to talk about the best player on the ATP tour, is actually Andy Murray. He is the best player on tour right now because the other best players are not playing at their best. That's the way it's. So for him, I think he just have 950 points from becoming world number one. It's easy. What does he have to do? Win in Vienna, of course, win in Paris, and Djokovic shouldn't get to the finals of those two events. Then you're number one.
I mean,
it's easy, right?
Easier said than done. You're spot on, though, with what you said earlier. I mean, Andy Murray surely is the form player, is the informed player on the ATP tour at the moment. He won in Beijing a couple of weeks ago. He's followed that up with a very impressive win in the final of Shanghai. Beating Roberto Bautista Agut in that very final, 7-6, 6-1. That's how that particular match ended. And it's the overall picture we're looking at is okay. We finally have a player in place that can actually overhaul Novak Djokovic as world number one. And like I said, Cecilia, Andy Murray's got 3 events left. Novak Djokovic has got 2 events left, starting with the next event for Murray in Austria, in Vienna. If he can win that one, and go on to the Paris Masters as well, where it's 1,000 points to play for. If he wins that as well, then he really closes the gap on Novak Djokovic. Although you have to say his record in Paris, his record in the ATP World Tour Finals is incredible, and it is very hard for that to happen. But we've seen Djokovic in recent times, he seems frustrated a lot. We saw him in the semi-finals against Bautista Agut, and I was very frustrated. He didn't play well, a lot of unforced errors, and that's what Andy Murray will be banking on for the rest of the year, that Novak Djokovic doesn't return to form at all, so he can be the world number one. Let's listen to Andy Murray. He's been reacting to his latest ATP triumph.
Well, I mean, it's obviously difficult to say exactly why, but obviously the middle part of the year, really after the French Open, I'd done well over the clay court season, but I do think obviously having Ivan back in my team helped at that period, and winning Wimbledon was really big boost to my confidence after I'd had quite a few tough losses in the slams the last few years, and that kind of gave me a lot more belief in myself that that I could win the major competitions again.
Welcome back. Still Channel Sport this morning. Andy Murray, Cecilia. I mean,
I just have to look at that game again. He was able to convert all his 4 break points, and not only that, wrap-up victory 1 hour 36 minutes. I mean, raised his level to win 7 points in a row. The first one went into a tiebreak. We felt he was going to struggle. Second set, somehow 7 games in a row, and before you know it, he has won it. I think it's the level of tennis he's playing right now. That's what baffles me. That's what I'm saying. Except Djokovic doesn't get to the finals of these 2 events. I mean, Andy Murray, the way he's playing, I don't know if there's any player right now that can actually defeat him right now on tour. Because it's really, it's really spectacular. Agut was the one who ensured that Djokovic didn't get to the finals. And at the end of the day, went on, dragged the first set with him. But somehow, second set, he just couldn't, sustain that tempo. So it shows that Andy Murray is playing good tennis. So there's a possibility that this guy, Might just be.
Yeah, there's a possibility. It is very possible for Andy Murray to overtake Djokovic, but it's in terms of the probability, I'm not very. I don't think it's very high because I expect Djokovic to end the season on a high as well. To Andy Murray, good luck to him. I mean, he's a great player, and it's not a coincidence that ever since Ivan Lendl returned, he's been playing really well. There's no coincidence there at all. It's because those two guys work really well together. And going into next year, I expect Andy Murray to start challenging right from the Australian Open.
I think that's how it's going to be. Okay, from tennis now move straight to what happened at the Paralympics. You know, some of these athletes are still being rewarded. The latest coming from Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has rewarded 2 of the state indigenes that won medals at the 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio de Janeiro, and Ifeinwa Ogbomba won gold in the women's javelin event. She received 1 million naira. And of course, she will also be employed, employed in Anambra State Civil Service. Yeah. So not just getting the money, also she's gaining employment. So while she's doing the sport, she has also been employed. Then this discus bronze medalist talking about Njideka Iyanzi also received 1 million naira, and of course she was promoted also in the state civil service. So I think this is also cool. They also rewarded their coaches with $500,000 naira each.
Cecilia, this is more than cool. Yeah. Like, this is really awesome. I mean, we always talk about rewarding our athletes, whenever they go out there to represent Nigeria really well. But these guys, the Paralympians, they always, take it to the next level when it comes to winning medals for Nigeria. So it's good to see all these, state governors doing the right thing, by rewarding them with cash, as well as, in the case of employment as well, to get employment and stuff like that. We saw what happened with the governor in Imo. Rochester Okorocha has done something similar as well. So hopefully all the other states, just take a cue, keep rewarding these guys, and who knows what they might do in Tokyo 2020.
Yeah, another thing I actually want to see would be, I wanted to actually see open bus parade kind of, for the Paralympians, since we couldn't get in with, the Olympians because of, the fact that they didn't get well. But these ones, I expected a more rousing welcome and all that when they got back, from Rio and everything. I was expecting that, but I didn't see that. But I think what they've done right here is cool, because for you to be able to reward these athletes, not just promising, I mean, they're actually giving them that cash, In time past, we've seen a promise, and promises usually are not fulfilled. But this one, they're just getting it immediately. And of course, hopefully when they get into the state service, what happens in the states right these days, so they can also, get that money. when it comes, that'll definitely be a cool one. And of course, they can be happy that, look, they're getting something. We'll get to listen to Obiano, talking about the reward system, but that will be after this break.